Hello and welcome to Wildcat Basketball Recap. I'm Matthew Coronado alongside Davis Johnson. And Davis, what do we have for this week?
Well, on the men's and women's side, we got two opposites going on right now, where the men's side is looking to snap a long losing streak in Big Ten play as they face Purdue and Indiana. But on the women's side, after a big win against ranked Ohio State team, they look to continue building momentum against the likes of Michigan State and Rutgers.
Sounds like we have a lot to get to. Let's get right into the men's highlights.
After a week off in competition, Northwestern travels on the road to Purdue to West Lafayette to take on the Purdue Boilermakers. Northwestern looking to snap an 8-game losing streak. Here, we'll start off with a bang. Ryan Young dribbles out a double team. Eventually, the ball swings to Chase Adish, who's wide open for three. He hits it nothing but net. Chase Adish would score 18 points for Northwestern. And Chase Adish here finds a trailing Boo Buie. He splashes home the transition three. Buie's good for one of those bombs every game. And then a Chase Adish errant pass leads to a break opportunity for Purdue. But Jaden Ivey is blocked by freshman Matt Nicholson. The 7-foot center gets up and blocks the Purdue freshman. But here, Aaron Boo Buie pass leads to another breakout opportunity. This time, Jaden Ivey is not going to get denied. He jams it home, one-handed slam. He would score 20 points, a career high for the Purdue freshman. Towards the end of the first half, Boo Buie dribbling, finds Ty Berry, who relocates to the corner. He drains a triple, the freshman for Northwestern. Purdue would lead by 3 at half. And look at this nice acrobatic layup by Chase Adish going up and around the 7'3" Zach Edey. And here, towards the end of the game, Northwestern trying to stay in it. Down 7. Miller Kopp drains the quick triple. Northwestern cuts the lead to 4. But ultimately, Purdue would be too much to handle at home as Zach Edey blocks Ryan Young. Leads to a breakout opportunity, and freshman Brandon Newman jams home the two-handed dunk. And that would about do it from West Lafayette. Purdue holds on to beat Northwestern 75-70. Northwestern loses its 9th straight game. After that tough loss to Purdue on the road, Northwestern back at home in the friendly confines of Welsh Ryan Arena, taking on the 10-8 Indiana Hoosiers. Northwestern looking to snap a now 9-game losing streak. We'll here get early in the first half. Chase Adish drives, misses a layup. Now Race Thompson tries to save it, but he gets it right back to Boo Buie, who misses the floater, and Chase Adish is right there to clean up the mess. Chase Adish would lead all scores with 19 points for Northwestern. Now here, Ryan Young backing down Indiana's big man Trace Jackson Davis. He gets the contact plus the hoop. Northwestern would get up as much as 14 earlier, but Indiana would cut the lead to 3 at halftime thanks to guys like Armon Franklin. He would score 20-plus points, including a nice step-back three here over Miller Kopp. Northwestern would lead 23-20 at the halftime break. And here, Chase Adish, nice defense on Armon Franklin, drives down the middle, then dishes out to Anthony Gaines, who throws down the one-handed slam. Northwestern builds a small lead early here in the second half. Now let's go with 5 minutes left. Nice dish to Ryan Young, who swings it to Ryan Greer, and Robbie Barron's open in the wing. He drills the triple. Northwestern up 7, but Indiana would cut the lead to 2 with 30 seconds left, and Al Durham hits the nice floater over Miller Kopp, gets behind Miller Kopp and drills the floater. We're going to overtime in Evanston. Now here, Pete Nance working on the smaller Race Thompson, gets the floater to go, plus the and one. Northwestern would build a small lead in overtime thanks to the post presence. But here, a crazy play, Armon Franklin double teamed, passes to Al Durham, who steps inside the line, buries the jumper over to Chase Adish. We got another overtime here. We're going to second overtime period in Evanston. And again, Northwestern working the post. This time, Ryan Young backing down Jackson Davis. He finds Ryan Greer on the baseline cut. Now here, Jerome Hunter with 17 seconds left. Nice step back three. Of course it goes in, right? That's how the Northwestern season is going. He drills the dagger three. And now Boo Buie has one chance to tie the game to send it into a triple overtime. His shot comes up short. And Northwestern loses in heartbreaking fashion to the Indiana Hoosiers. They've now lost 10 straight games, the 3rd straight year in which they've done so.
Our very own Tyler Haskins interviewed another Sportsnet contributor, Lawrence Price, on the status of the men's basketball team.
Now I'm joined by our very own Lawrence Price, analyst for Sportsnight. Lawrence, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Tyler. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you on. Let's hop right into the questions here. The Northwestern men's basketball team suffered losses to Purdue and Indiana this past week to bring their record to 6-11 on the season. What have been the reasons behind this 10-game skid since December?
Yeah, like you said, Tyler, 10-game skid. We thought Northwestern was looking promising early on in the season. We saw their big win against number 4 Michigan State and their last win against Indiana back in December. But they've had a really rough schedule. 8 out of their last 10 games have been against ranked opponents. And like Coach Chris Collins said in his last post game after their most recent loss to Indiana, it's not easy to win a Big Ten game. 7 of the teams in the Big Ten, so half of the teams, are ranked in the top 25, arguably the toughest conference in the nation. So, when you're losing games, it's really hard to get a chance to recuperate, sit back, and have that game where you can just look and say, okay, what do we need to do when you're really just versing tough offenses, tough defenses at all times. And I mean, they should have won that Indiana game. They were up 7 points with 2 minutes left, but they really just couldn't pull it out. And I think the offense looks really good. The offense is doing their job, but it really comes down to the defense. I mean, they're ranked second to last in field goal scoring against in the Big Ten, and also second to last in rebounding offense. So not only are they struggling to get those second chance points, but also get those stops on defense. It really doesn't matter how good the offense is looking if you can't get stops on defense.
Very true. And you mentioned closing out this Indiana game. In 3 of the last 4 games, Northwestern has lost by no more than 5 points. What's been the biggest issue for them in closing out games?
Yeah, they were all winnable games. I mean, we saw against Penn State, they were on a 10-0 run late in the second half. You can't afford that if you're Northwestern. And also, you let Indiana lurk around. And I mean, Indiana only led for 14 seconds in regulation that whole time. But when you let them stay around and go to overtime, go to double overtime, 2 of your starters in Miller Kopp and Ryan Young foul out, it's going to be hard to win those games. And Tyler, I mean, I was looking at the stats. In every single half, it's always been 5 points or less between Northwestern and the other team, whether them being on top or them being below. So you really just got to finish. You really got to look into that second half and look, and you got to win it. It really comes down to that.
For sure. I couldn't agree more. As we mentioned earlier, a tough slate for the Cats throughout the season. Next up, they're facing 3 ranked opponents in a row in Rutgers, Illinois, and Wisconsin. What can they do to turn around their recent struggles against some tough competition?
Well, I think there's 3 keys to the game. Again, I would say the defense really has to be there. We know the offense is going to be there, but you can't let a team, if you're shooting 44% from the field, you can't let a team shoot 48. And that's really what it comes down to. The defense is not getting the stops that they need. But I do like Coach Chris Collins' idea of allowing Ryan Young and Anthony Gaines to move into the starting lineup. I think this will combat their defensive woes. And that's not a knock on Boo Buie and Robbie Barron. They're both great players. But I think when you bring defense, especially on the guards with Anthony Gaines, how he can play defense, and you also allow Ryan Young to come in to crash the boards with Pete Nance on that side, I think that will really spark the defense right there, get them the stops that they need. And another key I have is Boo Buie. I mean, in the last 3 games, he has only had 2 points, 8 points, and 2 points. And that last 2 points came against Indiana, where he shot 0 for the field. It was really from free throws. So you're going to need a dominant point guard in the Big Ten if you really want to win. I mean, his last really big game was against Penn State. And before that, the 3-game stretch, he was averaging 13 points per game. So he was really getting going. I don't know why it kind of just stopped happening, but they're going to really need him to get it going. And if you can have him get it going with both or all 3, Chase Adij, Miller Kopp, Pete Nance, all 3 of them are averaging 13 points. So you know the offense can be led by them. But if you can get Boo Buie going as well, you have a really good chance of winning.
Hopefully these key players can get back into a rhythm once again. That's all the time we have. Lawrence, thank you once again for joining us. And now we'll throw it back to Matt and Davis.
After last week's big win against Ohio State, Northwestern women's basketball looks to continue building momentum on the road at East Lansing against the Michigan State Spartans.
Coming off a big win against a ranked Ohio State team, Northwestern looks to continue building momentum in East Lansing as they take on the Michigan State Spartans. Early first quarter, Lindsey Pulliam shoots from downtown, splashes it in. Pulliam leading all scorers with 22 on the night. Here, Veronica Burton, between the legs, step back jumper, gets it to go. Northwestern going up 19-7 at the end of the first quarter. Second quarter here, Jordan Hamilton attacking the rim, hits the step back one-legged jumper. Bang! Later on in the second, no one guarding Jordan Hamilton. Big mistake by the Spartans. She pulls up from downtown, gets it to go. Northwestern going up 37-18 at the half. Third quarter here, Julia Ariel attacks the rim, gets the and-one layup. Clock would say fourth quarter, but it was really the third quarter here. Later on in the true third quarter, Lindsey Pulliam with the corner 3 off the assist from Sydney Wood, although Northwestern would be outscored 10 in the third quarter. Here in the true fourth quarter, Julia Ariel gets the and-one layup. Michigan State with a chance to tie it and would end up taking the lead after being down 19. but all reliable Veronica Burton gets the go-ahead underhand layup. Michigan State with a chance to tie, but they'll come up empty from deep. Northwestern hangs on, takes down the Spartans for their third straight win.
The Wildcats are defending home court against Rutgers, who is coming off a 5-week break from COVID. Their last game against Nebraska, they did have a victory. Jumping into the first quarter here, this pass goes out to Jordan Hamilton, who puts up and puts away this three to start the game for Northwestern. This pass out to Takia Mack, sizes it up, and puts it away. She had a heck of a night with 16 points. Arella Garantes, the third leading scorer in the Big Ten. Fadeaway jumper, hits that over Sydney Wood. With 45 seconds left in the half, she'll take the and one off of Jordan Hamilton, 28-28 at half, going into the third quarter now. This pass out to Diamond Johnson, standing 5'5", she buries it for Rutgers. Lindsey Pulliam down to Paige Mott, the true freshman. She had a wonderful night with 12 points and 6 boards. Lindsey Pulliam takes the pass at the free throw line and puts it up. It's good. Takia Mack looking for a pass here. How about the three? It goes for her, and Rutgers will close this one out 70-54. They face Purdue tomorrow, and they're 2-0 since being back.
Well, Matthew, that was quite an action-packed show. We had 4 games combined between the men's and women's side. What do we have to look forward to for next week's show?
Next week, it'll be another full slate of games as the men's teams takes on 2 ranked opponents in Rutgers and the highly ranked Illinois. And on the women's side, they'll be taking on Ohio State, who they beat recently, and then they'll be taking on Nebraska, who they lost to this season. So an interesting slate of games next week.
Some pivotal matchups coming up for both teams. Obviously, Northwestern men's basketball playing a lot of ranked teams this year. That's not going to change moving forward this week. Thank you guys for tuning in. For Matthew Coronado, I'm Davis Johnson. We'll see you next week on Basketball Recap.